everyone, welcome to Daily Zohar. So today's Zohar portion is from Pinchas, which is a very healing portion in the Zohar. And Rabbi Shimon opens up, Man de patach pitcha yema. Who wants to open up? Rabbi Shimon asked his students, he said, who wants to open up and give us something inspirational? Amar Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar, his son, says, Tanina, I know something. Kol man de amartila le David b'chol yom tlat zimni. Whoever says the Ashrei prayer, which is called Tehillah le David, 3 times a day, our sages teach us, Iu bar alma de'ati, that is someone of the next world. So that's something that Rabbi Lazar mentioned is very important. V'ha'itmar taima, the reason is begin parnaso mezona dechol almin, and that has to do with the sustenance of the entire world. So by saying the Tehillah le David, saying the Ashrei, we're connected to having the next world, person of the next world, because all of the worlds are contingent on what is in the prayer of Ashrei. And what is in the prayer of Ashrei? It says in the prayer of Ashrei, Parnasa umezona dechol almin. It has the sustenance of the world, because one of the main verses in Ashrei that it says, actually, if we don't say this verse and we don't say it with a certain level of consciousness of kavanah, then we have to go back and say it. And that is poteach et yadecha. We open up, God opens up his hands, umasbia l'chol chai ratzon, and sustains all beings. So the Zohar says that's not just something small, because all of the worlds need God's sustenance. Everything is sustained by the infinite sustenance of the Creator. And so, so we say it twice in the morning prayers, and we say it once in the afternoon in the mincha prayers. Dichtiv, how do we know this? Because it also says when God rained the manna upon the people, it happened in the morning and it happened in the evening. So meat was given at nighttime for dinner, but the manna was actually just rained one time. But still, it's as if it's twice, because they got meat, and the meat is kind of like an offshoot of being sustained, and that sustaining factor comes from the manna. So what's this idea of twice, the morning and the evening? So the morning and the evening has to do with a person's personal sustenance, and the evening or the afternoon prayer has to do, or maybe the concept of just the being twice, is that there's my personal sustenance and there's a sustenance of the world. So whether the person has everything there is to have, or whether they have nothing, they have to realize that they have their personal sustenance. And the work starts from within themselves. And the work from within themselves then brings the sustenance to the rest of the world, the outer world. So the inner world is actually this sense of abundance, this sense of worth, this sense of deservance and love from the Creator to me, that he sustains me every single day, every single morning, and every single evening for my entire life since I was born. And I even had the ability to even think about, how do I make it? I was given my sustenance. So too, God is always taking care of our sustenance, but the work is on doing the inner work. And so the Zohar continues, there could be 2 approaches of looking for one's sustenance, looking basically for money. And all are included in this prayer. And it's basically, where does your mindset want to be? So it says, you give their sustenance in their right time. So da mezona da tire, that is the food of the rich. And a person could have millions, but still they feel like they are not in the right time, because they haven't yet accomplished this and the other thing, and they're still in the middle of something, and they're still thinking about a certain deal that's not, and that, although financially, they have everything, but the truth is that they're poor. But the Zohar says that the food of the rich is the realization that I'm being sustained right now in this moment. That this moment is where ata noten lahem et ochlam bito. Right now means this is a moment. And in this moment, maybe in lifetimes ago, I didn't have my food at the right time. But now I do. That's amazing. And that's actually riches. And then you have masbia lechol chai ratzon, is the food of the impoverished, of the poor. And the Zohar says that the food of the poor is basically those who are satiated from will. Masbia lechol chai ratzon. So this isn't the literal meaning of it, but the Zohar's interpretation is that they're satiated with a will. All they do is like they have a will, but they're not opening up themselves to actually be in the receiving mode and being this in this appreciation mode. They're in a will mode, and when they're in the will mode, they're basically saying, only when I have this, only when I do this, only when this happens, that's when I have a sense of worth. Whereas in the truth of the matter, the sense of the worth is godly. And when we open up our hands and we ask God, Potech et yadecha, we're deeply asking, can you open up my sense of worth, my sense of self-worth? And that is the first and the primary way of receiving one's sustenance. And from there, there's the sustenance to the entire world. And again, the Zohar talks about the two levels of individuals, those that are open and deserving and they are grateful. And then you have those that are just satiated with the will, but they're all in the level of will and they have not accomplished and have not actually done things to go out of will into practice. And the idea of practice is risk, and that's opening up oneself to potential fall, but at the same time it's opening up oneself to many blessings from the Creator. And wishing you many blessings on this day.